Welcome to the internet, valued spectator. This is LeoFilm, I am Leo, and I have just been through Week 1 of Warboss Taste 2021 February Painting Challenge. I set my goal during the bootcamp and it's on. Day 1. I suffered a surprise attack by my birthday, so I accomplished very little. Day 2. I scraped a bit of flash off of some minis. Daily questions about culture. Favorite fantasy or sci-fi movie of all time? How could I pick one above all others when there are so many good ones? Alien? Predator? Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings? Enemy Mine? Terminator? Aliens? The Wrath of Khan? Hunter Prey? Flash Gordon? Big Trouble in Little China? Conan the Barbarian? Favorite actor, actress, why? Rutger Hauer. From Blind Fury to Buffy the Vampire Slayer and from Fatherland to Hobo with a Shotgun, he elevated everything he was in. It's a shame he never got to play Van Helsing in the faithful Dracula adaptation I've always wanted to see. Favorite action-adventure movie from the last decade, why? For the sake of brevity, I'll go with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, because it brings all of the feels and thoroughly explores the subject of deadness from many angles. Favorite band or musician? Why? Again, there are just too many to choose from and my tastes are very varied, so here are a few bands or musicians who stand out to me in their respective genres. In Extremo, FX, Sam & Dave, Knorkator, Foo Fighters, Erdenstern, Pearl Jam, Jean-Michel Jarre, Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Daft Punk, Erik Satie, Kansas, Nikolai Andreevich Rimsky-Korsakov, Led Zeppelin, Maximo Park. Favorite song? I obviously don't have any one favorite song, but I'll put a few links in the thing so you have something to click on. Favorite childhood television show? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because they've got a power and a force that you've never seen before. They've got the ability to morph and to even up with the score. No one can ever take them down. The power lies on their side. Least favorite actor, actress? Well, unfavorite actors and actresses tend to be very forgettable. Except Seth Rogen. Day 3. I scraped more flash off some more minis and discovered that all my liquid green stuff is as dry as desert sand. I then proceeded to fill the creases on those minis with yellow milliput. Daily questions about getting to know you. Tell us about your childhood home. Specifically, what do you remember about growing up there? We used to have a big garden with a bunch of very climbable trees. Good fun. Tell us about a hobby or interest of yours that you haven't spent any time on recently. Miniature sculpting has been lying dormant for 2 to 3 years, spinning wool even longer than that. Not counting miniatures, tell us about a hobby or interest that you currently enjoy. I like drawing stuff and occasionally composing some music. I've been trying to flex my writing muscles for a D&D campaign lately, but have been blocked since Christmas. Now I do videos on YouTube apparently. Who did you know in your own life that inspired you when you were younger? What a silly question, my dad of course. What do you do for fun when you're bored and have a lot of energy? I am making a map for a role-playing game. It is tedious work and requires a lot of energy. Tell us about your favorite trip or vacation. That would be a group trip to Israel in 2016. Amazing weather, amazing people, rich air, and everyone was taking pictures of everything. Day 4. I sprayed the first batch of minis with Army Painter's Uniform Grey. I went to the local hobby store to buy the paints I need, but had not acquired yet, and to replenish my liquid green stuff. I also scraped the flash off of 2 boss-sized minis. Daily questions about the hobby. Why did you choose your challenge project? Was it the miniatures? The game? Yes, and the fact that I haven't finished the project in over 2 years. Your future self has just finished the February painting challenge and has gone through a time portal to briefly possess you and tell you about the experience. Imagine yourself, a month from now, having finished your project. What does it look like? How does it feel? Imagine the satisfaction of reaching your goal and achieving your objective. Now tell your present self how it feels and give yourself the advice you need to make that future a reality. Paint. Start painting and don't stop. Do you have all the tools and paints you'll need to finish your project? If not, what else do you need in your arsenal? It amuses me that anyone would think I would think this far ahead. What techniques or skills do you anticipate having to use to finish your project? Dry brushing, highlighting, airbrushing, etc.? Yes, no, layering, shading, glazing, feathering, possibly stippling, maybe I'll dip my toes into non-metallic metals for a change. And of course, at every step I'll have to practice the ancient art of saying, "Screw it, this is good enough. Onwards to the next mini." What is a miniature you do not own that you would like to have in the future? I would love to procure and paint Thunderbolt Mountain's range of magical ballerina fairy princesses, especially the flying pink pony unicorn with magical ballerina fairy princess shooting a rainbow laser with oven mitts because lasers get hot. What painting or modeling techniques do you want to get better at by the end of the year? I want to get better at freehanding and non-metallic metals. What do you do to get into the zone, that creative mode where you achieve total zen with your paintbrush and are most productive? To get into the zone, I watch the current painting challenge related videos. To stay in the zone, I listen to audiobooks or podcasts. Day 5! I painted the bases on the minis with Mechanicum Standard Grey with my whatever, just slap it on there brush. I did not thin this very thick base paint to save some time on this low detail part. I also painted over areas where the primer spray didn't hit properly. Some of the milliput areas still stood out due to the difference in texture. Unthinned base paint was helpful again. Every mini got 2 thin coats of a different shade of green on the skin parts. I want to see how that turns out when they're finished. When I went on to paint the eyes, my trusty all-purpose paintbrush, which I had been using since forever, decided to abandon the concept of a tip and joined its twin that was lost to the first pot of liquid green stuff I bought. Share a story. This little 2nd edition Space Marine is the first mini I ever owned and painted. He was gifted to me by my best friend at the time. He and his cousins were already deep into Warhammer 40k, and one day he had forgotten that we were scheduled to watch movies and play video games like friends are supposed to do. So he just handed me this marine and a paintbrush, and I started painting him as a dark angel, because my buddy was collecting blood angels and they were sharing a codex at the time. I never got around to gluing on his bolt gun, let alone playing with him. I have since used him as a crash test dummy to test new paints or techniques before I unleashed them on a newly bought figure. Since then, Games Workshop has increased the size of their miniatures range by range. First, they embiggened the Space Marines because with the onset of the 2nd edition they became genetically and surgically enhanced super warriors and the minis didn't really reflect that. Then they bulked up the Catachan jungle fighters because you have to be a roided up 80s action movie trope to survive on their home planet. Then they upsized the rest of the Imperial Guard because this insane difference didn't really make sense, and I must assume they also put some less experienced sculptors up to that, which in turn meant that by the time of 4th edition the Space Marines were too small again. Day 6! I went to the local hobby store to replace the brush and my makeshift mini holding device, visited a friend to give English lessons to the kid, went grocery shopping and baked a cake. What could possibly go wrong? Tell a joke. Just watch the video, I'm not your circus monkey. Day 7. I just went on a quick cake distribution run after church so that everyone might get a piece. In a snowstorm. Without 4-wheel drive. It took 6 hours. I used up the rest of the night dueling for the first place in the Diamond League on Duolingo, which I won. I finished on the number 1 spot. A night well spent. How is your project going? I really just want to get something done every day for a month. It's slowly coming along, and it's over when I say it's over. Alright, we're done here for now. Click all the buttons if that's your thing, and if you absolutely must leave a comment, don't be a dirt herder.